Welcome to the TOEFL Listening section. In this section, you will listen to an academic lecture and then answer questions about what you heard. You may take notes while you listen. You will have time to review your notes before answering the questions. Listen to part of a lecture in a university class. You will hear the lecture only once, so listen carefully. After the lecture, you will answer some questions about what you heard. Some questions ask about the main ideas and supporting details. Other questions ask you to make inferences or connections between ideas. Answer each question based on what is stated or implied in the lecture.
Good morning, everyone. Today we will examine Victorian era clothing and how dress functioned as a marker of social status in the 19th century. We will look at silhouettes, materials, manufacturers, and social practices that made clothing a language of class during the reign of Queen Victoria. First, I want to situate the period. The Victorian era spanned most of the 19th century. Fashion during this time underwent dramatic shifts in silhouette and construction. These changes were not merely aesthetic. They reflected status, gender expectations, and new commercial systems that shaped who could wear what. Consider silhouette. Early Victorian bodices emphasized a narrow waist with full skirts supported by petticoats. In the 1850s and 1860s, the crinoline cage produced a pronounced bell shape. Later, the bustle brought volume to the back of the dress. By the 1890s, the S-bend and tailored shirtwaist signaled different ideals of posture and modernity. These sculptural shapes required engineering. Corsets shaped the torso and provided the waistline around which skirts were arranged. Crinoline cages used curved steel hoops to hold out skirts. Bustles used pads and structured frames to build rear fullness. The presence or absence of these devices was a visible index of class and gendered respectability. Materials and surface treatment mattered too. Silk, taffeta, fine wool, and intricate passementerie signaled wealth. Calico and coarser cotton were associated with working dress. Color played a role. Certain hues were seasonally desirable and sometimes expensive to produce. The quality of tailoring and pattern cutting distinguished bespoke garments from cheaper, ready-made pieces. Court and elite influence was decisive. Designers working with aristocratic clients shaped wider taste. The Parisian couturier Charles Frederick Worth established his house in the mid-century and developed the idea of designer-led fashion. His designs reached British high society and filtered down through fashion plates and magazines. Royal example had profound social effects. Queen Victoria, wearing black after Prince Albert died, turned mourning dress into a public ritual and a market for black fabrics. That single act extended mourning conventions and produced a sustained demand for somber materials across classes. At the same time, commercial changes altered access. The rise of department stores and the growth of ready-made garments made fashionable shapes more available to the expanding middle class. Sewing machines and improved pattern systems accelerated production. Yet imitation of elite styles often required financial sacrifice, which itself signaled social aspiration. We should also consider resistance and reform. The dress reform movement criticized extreme corseting and impractical skirts on health and efficiency grounds. Groups promoted simpler silhouettes and less constrictive bodices. These critiques reveal that clothing was contested as well as performative. To illustrate with a concrete case study, consider Empress Eugénie of France. Her patronage of London and Paris designers pushed particular details like fitted bodices and high collars into elite wardrobes. Those details were then copied in fashion plates and adapted by local dressmakers for different social groups. Finally, remember that clothing operated as a complex system. Cut, fabric, ornamentation, and construction together signaled status. Fashion was a language that communicated wealth, morality, and social ambition. Understanding Victorian dress requires attention to technology, commerce, and symbolic meaning all at once. That concludes the overview. Next week, we will analyze primary sources such as fashion plates and extant garments to see these ideas in concrete form.
Listen again to part of the lecture, then answer the question.
Queen Victoria, wearing black after Prince Albert died, turned mourning dress into a public ritual and a market for black fabrics.
This concludes the listening section. For more TOEFL practice tests and study materials, visit Spinta.org.